So this is an example, I believe, from Hawks or from your textbook. So we've got Papa Elias, and Papa Elias is faced with concerns whether or not he should expand his business by opening a new store in the heart of downtown Boulder. Now, from what I know about Boulder, that's pretty expensive, so this is a big decision to make. Um, and based on the states of nature, apparently this is a Greek restaurant sort of situation. So the next thing he's got to identify his options. So in his situation, he determines that he can either rent property on Pearl Street, which is I'm assuming this is factual, the main pedestrian mall in Boulder, sell his goods on a mobile vending cart on Pearl Street, or just no expansion at all and keep the existing store or stores that he already has. So, three different states of nature. Might be a high demand for authentic Greek baked goods, a moderate demand, or low demand. And so he can review his 3 years of experience to kind of make some estimates for how much money he might profit or lose given the alternatives in state of nature. Okay, so based on that, Papa Elias Greek Bakery comes up with these numbers. So we've got the different alternatives. Open the shop on Pearl, the vending cart, no expansion at all, high demand, moderate demand, and low demand. He figures, his profit, his income versus his expenses, and that's how we come up with the 20,000, the 10,000, or low demand stand to lose $10,000 on, and this is for a week apparently. So now no expansion of all at all. Obviously, those are just going to be zero, right? No profit, but also no loss, so it's just a straight across zero. Right. So with all this information, how do we go about making a decision? This is just the starting point. So we've got to select a decision strategy. All right, so the decision environment is the situation in which you're making a decision based on the type and amount of information known. So, decision making under certainty, right? Now, this almost never happens in real life, right? If you could be certain about all the possible outcomes, then the decision should be obvious, right? So that's not really of interest to us in this class. It's like, yeah, that's the best choice. It's guaranteed. Make that choice, right? Okay. Where it gets more interesting is more real life situations where, I can't be completely sure what the right decision is. So that's decision making under uncertainty. And so we have three ways of making decisions based on that, where we have uncertainty, where we really just have no idea what's going to happen. So the maxi-max, the maxi-min, and the Hurwitz criteria of realism. And then there's decision-making under risk, where we have information that we've either gathered from experience or perhaps we've paid an expert to gather for us about the probability of those different states of nature occurring, right? What's the probability that there will be a high demand on Pearl Street? What's the probability that there will be low demand? All of that. If you have some actual numbers you can attach to that, then we can calculate the expected monetary value. All right, so the maxi-max is kind of what it sounds like. It's the most optimistic approach. We choose the best of the best. Okay, so you figure out the best possible payoff for each alternative, right? So the best option to open shop on Pearl is to have a profit of $20,000 a day. The best possible outcome for your vending cart on Pearl is $7,500 a day. The best possible outcome for no expansion is just going to be zero. So you take the best possible outcomes and then you choose the best of the best. So the highest maximum value goes along with opening a shop on Pearl. So the maxi-max, the optimistic approach, says open that shop on Pearl. It's all going to be great. Okay, on the other hand, you may have a more pessimistic shop owner, and you may think, oh man, this really makes me nervous. Everything might go wrong. Okay, so this is a pessimistic approach. This is, all right, what is the worst case scenario, and how can I make the best out of it? Okay, so the worst case scenario for opening a shop on Pearl is losing $10,000 a day. Worst case scenario for the vending cart is to lose $1,000 a day. Worst case scenario, no expansion at all, is zero. So the best option out of all the worst case scenarios is this zero, and the choice then is no expansion at all. Okay, so we have best of the highest of the best outcomes, and the maxi min, the best of the worst outcomes. Now, I don't know how your life is, but my life tends to come somewhere in between, right? It's not always the best of the best happens, but rarely is it the very worst case scenario. It's usually somewhere in the middle. And we've got what's called the Hurwitz criterion for that, or the criterion of realism. This is a compromise between the maxi-max and the maxi-min approaches. And so what you do is you come up with your alpha value, okay, your Hurwitz value that is basically how likely you think the best case scenario is, the highest demand is going to be. Okay. So in this particular case, we're using a fairly optimistic approach still with a 0.75. So this is going to be a probability value. So a decimal value between 0 and 1, 0.75. So what we do is we take that alpha times the best in the row plus 1 minus alpha. So in this case, that's going to be 0.25 times the worst in the row. Okay. So best in the row, 20,000 times 0.75. And then 0.25 times negative 10,000 gives us a Hurwitz value here of 12,500. So then once we figured these values out, we look at the best case scenario given our 0.75 probability of high demand. Okay. So this also suggests that our best option is to open the shop on